Hey everyone, Courtne Marland here, and in today's video, I want to address the question of exactly why you must have a guarantee if you want to succeed as an agency in 2022, 2023, and beyond. Now, I speak to so many agencies on a daily basis, and usually the number one problem they have is they can't book meetings, and what usually happens when I really dissect their process is the problem is not that they're doing the wrong outreach or that they're not doing enough outreach or any of these things, because usually they are. The problem is just whatever they're outreaching with, in other words, their offer, it just sucks. Like, I don't know how to kind of phrase this in a way that, won't offend you or might not hurt your ego. But if whatever you're trying to sell just sucks, no one is going to book a meeting with you. And a lot of people, when you think of guarantees, they usually think of it in the sales process. So when you actually get on the sales call. But 9 out of 10 times, guys, the reason why you need a guarantee is not to close the client, it's to close the meeting. A guarantee is an instrument for getting more meetings in your pipeline, not for actually closing more clients. So in today's video, I'm going to actually dive into my screen. I'm going to break down exactly why you need a guarantee, how to set it up, etc., etc. Now, just to first give you a little bit of social proof, my name's Courtne. As I said, I've built and scaled 2 agencies, Centrosite, which I sold, and now I'm building GrowthTube. On top of that, I also run Systems and Profit, where I help agency owners, which is why I am making these videos. So without further ado, I'm pumped for this video. I think it's going to literally make or break a couple of your agencies. And if you implement what I'm going to give you today, I think you'll thank me later. So let's do it. All right, guys. So welcome to the whiteboard of truth, as I like to call it. So if we dissect a guarantee, there's a couple things that we need to understand, right? So first of all, you have to just accept that the agency space is just getting more competitive, right? There's a lot of really big influencers in the space who's pushing this idea that agencies are easy to start, easy to make money. And of course they are all those things. But what happens is as more people enter the space, what happens is competition goes up, right? And when competition goes up, the entry barrier just gets lifted higher and higher and higher. So basically, let's say that this was 2 years ago and this is now. An offer that was operating here, you would usually do really, really well. But today it has to be over here for it to literally get the same results as this, right? So things have gotten harder. But now what happens is when people see this, a lot of people run away, right? It's like, okay, everything's gotten harder. SMA is saturated, SMA is over, let's run away, right? But I had a friend who taught me this concept that if you look at the market, right, and you look at all the people that are in here, so right, so let's say that there's literally dozens of people in here. Okay, what usually happens over and over and over again is people just copy. So 9 out of 10 agencies that I speak to, all they ever want to do is Facebook ads for e-com businesses, like Facebook ads for e-com businesses. And so what happens is you have a massively red ocean, right? Because everyone is literally doing the same thing. And so if you're a business and you look at it, you just see this massive ocean of people, right, who are all doing the same thing. And what's happening is the ocean is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, when you come along and you change something, you stand out from the crowd. What happens is you become like this little blue dot here, right? It's a small little blue dot. Now, you, compared to the rest, there's a massive difference, right? There's, 300 of these, but only one of you. But because you are so different, the different color, you stand out. You immediately are gravitated to this blue dot instead of the red, right? And this is really where guarantees come in play, because I'm not saying that you can't operate in a competitive niche. I mean, if you can avoid it, by all means, obviously that's the whole blue ocean strategy, which I made a bunch of videos on. But what I'm going to give you today is how, if you are in a niche like this, you can stand out, you can close more meetings and therefore get more clients, right? So let's understand a couple things with a guarantee. The first thing is you just have to do it because the market's become competitive. And if you don't have a guarantee and your competition do, you're just going to lose, right? Because as a business owner, you want to always minimize risk. So why would I choose someone who doesn't have a guarantee versus someone who does, unless that person just has huge amounts of competitive advantage in terms of experience, case studies, whatever, which if you don't have a guarantee, you probably don't have any of that, right? So that's the first thing, okay? But secondly, what I'm going to tell you here is I think people are looking at guarantees the wrong way. Because if you look at a guarantee, what it will actually do is a couple things, right? There's actually no way that you can lose when you have a guarantee. Most people are hesitant to create a guarantee because the way that they see it is they see, okay, I'm going to do a guarantee. And then I'm basically going to do a lot of work because I'm going to land the client. And then let's say there's no results. Okay, so we've kind of got 2 options here. We've got no results, right? Or we have got results. Now, with the no results, what happens? You have to refund them, okay? What happens with the results? You get to keep the cash. So obviously, this is the path that everyone wants to go down. But 9 out of 10 agencies look at this and they say, well, results are unpredictable because, especially if you're in a market like e-com, there's a lot of things like the product, the targeting, all of these things can go wrong. So the likelihood of me delivering results is low, which means I'm going to have to refund them. And if I have to refund them, I'm sitting out of pocket, because if I'm out of pocket, well, a couple things. First, even if I refund the client, I still have to pay the contractor, okay? I also still have to spend my time managing it, doing whatever, which I can't get back. So we got time. And then we also have software, so like Slack, Close, Google Docs, whatever you're using as an agency. And you cannot recoup these, right? So these just sit as negative on your P&L or profit and loss, right? Because you just can't get these things back, even though you've given the money away to the client. So this is a pretty good case to don't offer a guarantee, right? But here's a mental model that I want you to use to kind of flip this on its head, okay? Well, if we look at this, we are going to follow the exact same chain of results here, right? So we're going to say, well, we've got a guarantee, okay? And then what happens is, we do the work, okay? And then, we get the results. And exactly the same chain here. There's either, no results, okay, or there is results. Here's how things work. If there's results, what happens? Well, first of all, we collect the cash. We also get a case study, okay? If there's no results, we minus the cash, okay? So we got a negative there. But what happened? We just got experience. Okay, and this is the number one thing that people don't seem to understand, is when you land your first couple clients, cash is not valuable to you, right? Experience is, because the thing is, as you know, it's this chicken and an egg situation. It's hard to land clients if you don't have case studies, because 9 out of 10 times on client calls, that's what they're going to ask you on sales calls. They're going to say, hey, do you have a guarantee or do you have results? Like, you have to have something. You are incredibly egotistical if you think you can just walk in and say, hey, I want to charge you $2,000, $3,000 a month. I've never delivered this service ever before. I've got no guarantee. On top of that, I also have no case studies, no results, no nothing, but you should pay me anyways. Like, do you understand how that might have worked many years ago when the market was less aware and less advanced? But today it's just like, you can't do that. Like, you're just going to lose to people like me and some of the agencies I work with, because they offer guarantees and they have results. So why would you do that? Or why would you make something so much harder for yourself? Okay, but on top of that, you can also get those case studies. So what will happen is, a guarantee is an easy way to book meetings, because here's the thing. When you send an email, right, or a message or a cold loom or whatever you do for outreach, what people do is they kind of pitch the service, right? They say, hey, I'm going to run Facebook ads, or I'm going to do Google ads, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, right? I want you to change your mindset to instead pitch the outcome plus the guarantee, so it's an absolute no-brainer. Okay, and there's a couple extreme ways that you can do guarantees. So you can do guarantees in terms of like result-based guarantees. You can do guarantees in terms of this. But I want to recommend that all of you just do one guarantee, which is simply no results, no pay. Okay, like very, very plain and simple. Because a lot of people try and do guarantees where they do these things like result-based. So like, hey, we're going to generate you leads. And if we don't generate you 20 leads a month or 30 leads a month or whatever it is, then you don't have to pay us. Now, the problem is with that is when you do a conditional guarantee, you open yourself up to a lot of questions, okay? So an easy way to explain this is like, let's say you offer a guarantee where it's lead-based, right? So, hey, if we generate you 30 leads a month, then, you have to pay us. If we don't, then you don't have to pay us. Immediately, if I was being sold to on the call, I would simply just ask you a straight question. I would say, okay, well, why is it 30 leads a month? Okay, and is that qualified leads? Is it not qualified leads? All those leads that close, like what happens if it's bad data? It's like a test at whatever email, junk data. Like, you've just created all of this complexity, but also it's like, well, let's define a month, because let's say the client starts on the 15th of the month. Does that mean that you need to generate 30 leads between the 15th and the 30th, or the 15th and the 15th? And then it can get super, super complicated really, really quickly. And also when you have all of that, what happens is you need a contract, okay? Because you have dates, you have numbers, you have all of these things. And I genuinely think that most agency owners wouldn't even be able to answer some of those questions, because it's like, how can you set a number-based goal like 15 or 20 leads a month if you have no previous clients? Because where would you be generating that number from? So you can set yourself up to fail super, super quickly. And it's also very complicated to explain, right? The more complicated something is to explain, the less likely it is to work, first of all, but also the more complicated it is to sell, because it requires a lot more understanding. Everyone, and I mean everyone, can understand no results, no pay. Okay, so this is the golden guarantee that I think just everyone should just start offering straight out of the gate until they have a little bit of experience in themselves and their agency, okay? Because then they can start changing this guarantee. So the way that I want you to look at this moving forward is, why should I offer a guarantee? Let's just summarize everything. Well, if we look at why, first of all, because everyone else is either too scared to do it or they are already doing it, right? Now, if they're too scared to do it, then it's a competitive advantage for me. If they are already doing it, then at least it equalizes me to them, so I'm not losing, right? That's the first thing. Secondly, it is another reason to book a call. Okay, so when you're doing outreach, you have to give the prospect reasons. I'm going to give you reasons here to book a call, because a guarantee is just one reason. You need multiple reasons, but it's one of those reasons, okay? It's a reason to book a call. It's a marketing tool that we can use as marketers to drive interest and traffic in our brand, right? Secondly, it actually holds me accountable to delivering a better service, okay? Because everyone should be aligned with the same guarantee. But third, what happens is it's going to make sales a lot easier, okay? Like, selling is hard. If you are new to this space and you've never sold, you haven't been on a lot of client calls, like, selling is difficult, right? When you've done hundreds and hundreds of calls, like, it gets a lot easier, but selling genuinely is quite difficult, especially if you have no confidence in yourself. And this is that catch-22, because there's a lot of new agency owners getting out there who, you know, they have full confidence in themselves and their abilities, but not really in their service, because they've never delivered it before. And, you know, how can you be confident in something you've never done before, right? Like, it makes sense. So what we do is we attack it before the client asks us. So most people sit on a sales call, and what they're doing is they're waiting for the question. They're waiting. And eventually the prospect is going to say, okay, this is all cool. Can we see some of your case studies? Can we see some of your results? Like, can we see something? And if you don't have clients, or you just have bad results, that's going to catch you, right? And I made entire videos around exactly how to answer that question of, do I have case studies or do I have this? But the easiest way to do it is just in the beginning of the call, say, hey, I'm new to this agency game, but I am learning from some of the best people in the space, and I'm also working with the best contractors possible, but I understand that there's risk on your side for taking us on board. So to counter that risk, I want to reverse all the risk onto ourselves. So before I even go through this process of discovery with you, I just want to let you know that we work on an absolute no result, no pay basis. So, like, if we don't generate results, you don't have to pay us. Okay, because what that does is, first of all, it allows you to frame the guarantee, because what you've just done is you've brought up the question of case studies, results, before the prospect has the chance to ask you. Okay, so you've framed it correctly, so it's not going to be an issue further down the line. You've also immediately caught their attention, because most people won't do that. And finally, what you've done is you've separated yourself from everyone else, okay? You haven't made it conditional, you haven't made it complicated, it's very, very simple, right? And then what happens is when you actually deliver the results, you start to stack experience. So when you sell with a guarantee like that, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? So most clients are just going to say yes, okay? So what's going to happen is you're going to find client acquisition easy, right? You're going to get your first 1, 2, 3 clients quickly. And what that does is, yeah, you're probably going to lose a bunch of them. Like, realistically, even if you're doing the best service training possible and you're, like, learning everything you can about your service, no one is perfect. And there is that whole thing of 10,000 hours to get good at anything, whether it's sales, marketing, like, it doesn't matter. It takes time to get good at something, okay? But the way to counter time is to do volume, right? So if you don't have any clients, or you only have like one client, it's going to take you a hell of a lot longer to do your 10,000 hours, right? But if you have, 3 clients, and then the next month you have 6 clients, it pretty much is going to half the amount of time needed, because you just have more work to do. So you have more exposure to the service, which means you learn a lot more. Imagine trying to learn from like 3 ad accounts versus being able to see the inside of 6. Okay, so the whole reason for this guarantee really is not to just make sales easy. It's actually to just get better at the service and get more confidence, and to get case studies, so that later down the line, you can do what? Well, you can obviously charge a lot more, because you have case studies and results, and you no longer need a super, super complicated guarantee like no results, no pay. You can make it simple, because you have the case studies and the results to back it up. So this is a very quick video that I just wanted to record just to answer this question once and for all. I hope my little drawings and things was valuable to you. And I also just want to say that if you are a new agency and you're struggling with getting appointments, landing calls, service delivery, pretty much anything, we have systems for almost all of it, right? I've worked with easily 100 plus agencies, as well as my own 2, which have got 7 figures. And so in the description below, there is a link. No pressure. You can book a call with me. We can just chat and see if it's a good fit. Now, if you're not interested, that's cool. I'll keep making videos, keep giving you help and guiding you along this agency. I've been doing it for a long time, and I love agencies. I think they're the best cash flow business models out there. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.